Shedeur Sanders, the NFL, and racism. If you haven't heard, NFL Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson said that a trusted NFL source told him that the NFL colluded against Shedeur Sanders to manufacture his slide in the NFL draft. And even if that's half true, that is on brand for the way that the NFL has worked since its inception. It would not be the first time that has happened. The NFL warned teams, do not draft Shedeur Sanders. This was not a slide, this was a manufactured push. And when you look at the numbers, the camp film, the game feel, and Cleveland's depth chart politics, it all lines up. See, I was about to do this piece and I was aiming it at Cleveland, but when I sat back and think about what actually happened in April and what a disgusting turn of events that turned out to be over 3 days, it dawned on me that this really doesn't have anything to do with Cleveland per se. They just took the baton. 40-year-old Joe Flacco being named starter is just a symptom of the actual bigger problem that is the NFL. Nobody was checking for 40-year-old Joe Flacco to start on their team. Not Mr. 2-4, 15 picks over the last 2 seasons, Joe Flacco. Nobody was looking for Kenny Pickett. In 3 seasons, he's only thrown 15 touchdowns and 14 picks. And nobody with a pulse had Dylan Gabriel going before Shedeur Sanders. Nobody. But the stage has now been set. He's a 5th round pick. And now you can see that people have slowly started to forget.
For Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders, I like to say I think it's disgusting. I don't understand what the heck's going on with this. 5th player on my board. It's never happened before in 47 years where a player that high has dropped this far into the 4th round at quarterback. It's sitting there in round 4 with other quarterbacks being taken who aren't as good as Shedeur, aren't even close.
See, if he's a 5th round pick, okay, you can put him at 4th. You can put him at 3rd, okay? But this slide was historic. No other talent, especially at the quarterback position, top 2 has ever slid like this. Not in any sport. If a guy as important as a quarterback position is in all of sports, those guys just don't slide, and they damn sure don't slide on an anonymous source. If Baker Mayfield can get arrested pre-draft, fleeing from the cops, and still be taken #1 overall.
Oh my God, man. Oh my God. I'm done. Are you kidding me?
That didn't scare 32 teams. You trying to tell me that an anonymous source saying that he's arrogant, that scared 32 teams? Hey, look at here. It wasn't no anonymous source. You're a fool if you believe that. The NFL put that out there. And they didn't put that out there for the 32 teams. The 32 teams, they knew that was some bullshit too. They put that out there for the media. So when he did slide, they could say, but the anonymous source said he was arrogant. The anonymous source said he didn't interview well. But they're trying to get us to forget what we've seen the last 4 years he's been in college. We never heard about anything off the field arrogant. You trying to tell me that Baker Mayfield can taunt his opponents, grab his nuts and say fuck you in the middle of the game? You trying to tell me that ain't arrogant? You trying to tell me that him planting the flag in the middle of Ohio State's stadium, that ain't arrogant? You trying to tell me that all of that didn't scare NFL teams, but an anonymous source can get 32 teams to back off a top 2 quarterback projected draft pick? Does that shit make any goddamn sense? Does it make any sense? Hell no. That shit don't make no sense. You know it does make sense? Them trying to go to that old-fashioned practices of the status quo. They don't like you too proud. They don't like you too self-assured. You trying to tell me that Johnny Manziel being arrested in 2012, being suspended for the autograph scandal and the fake IDs.
And then the next thing I know, I'm in handcuffs. And this guy is asking me, where's your ID? And I just remember the first thing out of my mouth was like, just take my wallet out of my back pocket. There's 3 of them in there. What's
the difference? All Shedeur's done since he got to Cleveland is be the best goddamn quarterback on that field. But it don't matter because when you're a 5th round pick, there's literally nothing you can do to leapfrog the starter. That is the kabuki theater that's happening right now. That's why this ruse has life. Because if he's a top 10 pick the way he was supposed to be, he'd be either #2 or starting come week 1, and he would have the opportunities that he was supposed to have. So I'm gonna break it down. Baker Mayfield arrested, fled police, still went #1 overall. Johnny Manziel arrested, arrested for having fake ID, failure to identify himself to police officers, for all the respect for the police, suspended for an autograph scandal, drug and alcohol problems while in college, Eli Manning demanding where he wants to go.
Why don't you want to play for the Chargers?
We're not really giving details right now. We've made our decision, and that's what we're sticking to.
John Elway threatening to play baseball. None of these guys slid. None of them. Still going #1 overall. So don't tell me about arrogance and don't float that anonymous bullshit out there. There was no anonymous source talking about him being arrogant. Maybe he had one bad interview with the Giants, but the Giants was picking way down in the draft. Why didn't the Steelers take him? The Saints still don't have a quarterback. You legitimately trying to tell me that the Steelers, without Aaron Rodgers in the fold, just happened to pass on Shedeur Sanders? That's some bullshit. That's a lie from the pit of the devil's stomach. One of the many ironies of this whole thing is that the one arrogant moment that came from any of the quarterbacks came from Dillon Gabriel.
You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that, and my job is to compete.
So you so concerned about that type of arrogance, but that arrogance didn't cost him his spot in the depth chart. You so concerned about turnovers, but you turned over the number 2 spot that led your squad in turnovers. What you're telling me by this depth chart, no matter how good Shedeur performed, there was never a chance for him to leapfrog any of these quarterbacks. And no matter how poorly Dillon Gabriel performed, there was never a chance he was going to fall behind Shedeur Sanders. And you're legitimately rolling out telling me that 40-year-old Flacco, who went 2-4 last year, that's your best chance to win. He'll be 41 by the end of the season. You're trying to sell us. The league is trying to sell us that that's the best shot. What you're trying to do, you're trying to piss in our collective faces and tell us it's raining. This is not just the Browns' problem. This is a systemic sickness that's been plaguing the NFL since its inception. There have been 531 head coaches in the history of the NFL, and only 25 of them have been black. That's 4.7%. We've had a grand total of 0 black majority owners in the league. Not one. I don't even think we had one come close. We've had a black president run the whole damn free world before we've had one black owner. We got 2 black Supreme Court justices. We got 2, and there's only 9 spots. There's only 9 of them. And we still ain't got one black majority NFL owner? That shit is not coincidence. That is by design. The irony is about the Shedeur Sanders situation. The NFL is supposed to be about can you play or can you not play? But it's not like that. It's like that at every position except the ones in leadership. It's like that at running back. It's like that at receiver. It's like that at safety and linebackers and all the other positions. It is not like that at quarterback. You cannot tell me that Colin Kaepernick's career was supposed to end when it did, and there was not a roster embargo around his name. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that there's only been 25 black head coaches out of 531, and that's not. And one of them was Fritz Pollard, by the way. And we didn't have another black head coach for 70 years after Fritz Pollard. This is bigger than just Shedeur. This is how they've been playing it. So the Shedeur Sanders situation is not a new one. This is an old trick played by old actors on the same old stage, because they know if Shedeur is a top 10 pick, you got to play him. The irony is, if you want to win, why wouldn't you want to play him?